The first break of illusion, they told you to wait, to be patient, to be realistic, to be grateful for what you have, even if it's far less than what you're capable of. They told you not to dream too big, because failure hurts, not to aim too high because disappointment kills, not to move too fast, because the world needs you to be predictable, manageable, average. And so you listened, not because you were weak, but because you were human, and humans crave comfort, acceptance, approval. You didn't know you were being programmed. They gave you a life plan written by people who stopped dreaming long ago. Go to school, be quiet, follow instructions, fit in, don't stand out. Trade your curiosity for compliance. Trade your courage for certainty. Trade your purpose for a paycheck. And then, what? Then you wake up at 25 or 35 or 55 and you realize you built a life that impresses everyone except yourself. That fire you once had, it didn't die, it was starved. Starved by comfort, by overthinking, by waiting for permission that was never coming. And here's what they never told you. Discipline is not the enemy. Discipline is not a prison. Discipline is the master key. Because everything they promised you, freedom, wealth, clarity, confidence, none of it comes from motivation. None of it comes from good vibes or manifesting or waiting. It comes from becoming the kind of person who does what they said they would do, even after the mood is gone. Discipline is doing it when it's boring, when it's painful, when no one's clapping, when your mind is screaming for comfort, and you answer with, "No, I have work to do." That's where you rise. That's where the gap between average and elite begins. Not in talent, not in connections, but in decisions repeated until they harden into identity. You see, success is not about doing what you feel like. It's about becoming the kind of person who feels like doing the right thing, because you've trained that into your nervous system. Discipline is the training. Discipline is the rewiring. Discipline is the only real proof that you're serious. You can scream your goals to the sky, write them on vision boards, tattoo them on your skin, but none of it means a damn thing if your habits scream louder than your hopes. The man who wakes up before the sun wins. The woman who says no when everyone else says yes wins. The soul who chooses purpose over pleasure, routine over chaos, silence over noise, wins. Look at Carnegie, Ford, Hill. These weren't lucky men, they were disciplined men. They weren't born with more, they built more. Brick by brick, day by day. When the world slept, they worked. While others blamed, they built. And while everyone else waited for motivation, they created it. Because they knew discipline doesn't depend on how you feel. Discipline decides how you feel. It reclaims the throne of your mind from impulse and emotion. It turns chaos into clarity. It makes the future louder than the past. So the question isn't, can you do great things? It's, can you become someone who refuses to live small one more day? Because greatness isn't found, it's forged. And the fire is discipline. Forge the vision. Fuel the fire, but here's the truth no one wants to hear. Discipline without direction is just suffering. You can grind every day, wake up early, eat clean, hustle. But if you don't know where you're going, you're just running in circles, fast. This is where belief enters. Not belief in luck, not belief in others. Belief in one very specific thing, that your life can be more, that your future is not a sentence, but a script you get to write if you dare to pick up the pen. And belief, real belief, always starts with a confrontation. You look in the mirror and say, I'm not who I want to be, yet not with shame, not with guilt, but with clarity. Because clarity is power. Clarity cuts through excuses. It burns through distractions. It says, this is what I want, and this is what it's going to take. Think of Henry Ford. He didn't just believe cars could be affordable. He decided they would be. He didn't wait for the industry to change. He changed it. He saw a future no one else saw, and then built it one system, one habit, one revolution at a time. That's not magic. That's not fate. That's belief, anchored by discipline, aimed by clarity. And make no mistake, you have a vision, even if you've buried it, even if you've doubted it, even if the world laughed at it, and you learn to laugh too, just to protect yourself from the sting. But it's there. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's wrapped in fear and failure and regret. But underneath the rubble is a voice that still says, I was built for more. That voice is your weapon, not because it's loud, but because it's true. Now ask yourself, what does the highest version of me look like? What time does that person wake up? What do they say no to? What do they sacrifice today for who they want to become? Because if you don't define that version of you, the world will. And the world doesn't dream for you. It sells to you. It distracts you. It profits off your confusion. You need to be more stubborn about your vision than the world is persistent about stealing your focus. And you need goals that scare you, not because they're impossible, but because they demand a new you. They force you to outgrow your excuses. They force you to think differently, act boldly, and cut ties with the version of yourself that keeps settling. You can't take the island if you keep building a bridge back to your comfort zone. So burn the bridge, burn the old blueprint, burn every identity that told you you're not ready, you're not smart enough, you don't have what it takes. Because clarity isn't about having every answer. It's about asking the right question. What would my life look like if I actually took myself seriously? And belief is the fuel to answer that question, with action, with discipline, with relentless, unreasonable, unshakable commitment to the future only you can see. You were not made to drift. You were not made to float through life like a feather tossed by the winds of opinion. You were made to choose, to aim, to move with purpose so loud that fear loses its voice, because a man with clarity does not beg for permission. He builds. And once your belief aligns with your actions, once your clarity defines your compass, you are no longer living by chance. You are living by design. And that is the beginning of freedom. Relentless action, unbreakable spirit. So you got the vision, you felt the fire, you've looked your fears in the eye and said, I want more. But now comes the part where most people fall, not because they don't believe, not because they don't dream, but because they confuse motion with progress and wait for perfect conditions to act. Let me tell you the truth. Success is not reserved for the talented. It's reserved for the consistent, the ones who show up, the ones who do the work no matter how they feel, the ones who act even when it's uncomfortable, uncertain, unfair, because life doesn't reward the ones who start. It rewards the ones who don't stop. Do you think Edison invented the light bulb because he felt inspired every day? He failed 0 times, not in theory, in practice. His lab wasn't a temple of motivation. It was a war zone of trial, error, adaptation, and refusal to quit. That's the truth about action. It's not glamorous. It's not viral. It's not poetic. But it's the only bridge between your potential and your reality. Because when things go wrong, and they will, your emotions will scream for comfort. And that's when most people fold. But not you. Because you understand, pressure is not punishment. It's training. It's life asking you, do you really want this? And discipline answering, watch me. When the world throws chaos at you, you remain calm. Not because you're cold, but because you've trained your mind to focus under fire. You don't chase calm, you build it, brick by brick, by choosing to act with strength when weakness would be easier. Resilience is not a gift, it's a decision. And here's what most forget. Every setback is a test of your character. Every delay, a mirror held up to your patience. Every rejection, a question whispered to your soul. Will you still move forward? And you must answer, yes, every single time, because storms don't destroy you, they reveal you. You want to know the fastest way to grow? Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this shaping in me? That's the shift, from victim to warrior, from fragile to unshakable, from reactive to intentional. And in the middle of the storm, while others scream and curse and collapse, you choose to whisper one word, thank you, because gratitude is the secret weapon, not the soft kind that waits for blessings to fall into your lap, but the powerful kind that says, I'm grateful because this moment is making me stronger, because the fire I walk through today will light the path for someone else tomorrow. You see, when you operate from that mindset, you don't fear hard work. You don't fear late nights. You don't fear losing comfort, being misunderstood, or walking alone, because you're not here to be average. You're here to be remembered. And those who are remembered are not the ones who played it safe. They're the ones who acted when no one believed, who rose when it was easier to stay down, who gave thanks when the world only gave pain. That is the power of discipline fueled by gratitude and made unstoppable by action. You're not made of glass. You are steel, shaped by every hit you've taken and still chosen to keep going. So the question is not, can I do this? The real question is, will I keep going when it's no longer easy, fun, or fair, because that's where the winners are made. Not on day one, but on day 101, when no one's watching, no one's clapping, and you still choose to rise. Become the architect of your destiny. But even now, after the vision, the pain, the discipline, the growth, there's still one truth left, standing between you and the life you were meant to live. That truth is this: no one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your partner, not your boss, not the algorithm, not the economy. No one. And the day you accept that fully, without resentment, is the day you become free. Because freedom isn't the absence of struggle. It's the presence of ownership. Ownership of your decisions. Ownership of your time. Ownership of your thoughts, your habits, your responses to the chaos of life. That's the final test. Not how loud you speak, but how deeply you own your path. Because at some point, you'll have to stop asking for permission. You'll have to stop hoping someone will push you forward. You'll have to become the one who says, "It's on me." And when you do, you'll begin to see yourself differently. Not as someone who's trying to change, but as someone who is becoming wiser, stronger, sharper, quieter, more dangerous in the best possible way. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs masters. Masters of thought, masters of decision, masters of self. And mastery doesn't come from chaos. It comes from choosing every single day to do what is hard when no one forces you to. That's the paradox of growth. The more control you gain over yourself, the more you unlock the parts of life that once felt unreachable. Wealth, built from structure. Freedom, forged in routine. Power, born from patience. Clarity, found in silence. Legacy, written in discipline. And if you ever forget that, remember this: every great name you admire walked this same path. Carnegie, Edison, Franklin, Hill, Rohn. They weren't handed greatness. They earned it, minute by minute, decision by decision, failure by failure. What made them different? They didn't let life happen to them. They happened to life. And so must you. You must rise earlier, think deeper, move smarter, train harder, speak less, work more, ignore the noise, double down on your standards, and never apologize for wanting a life that few are willing to build. Because the life you want doesn't come from wishing. It comes from becoming. And the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to be. It's not motivation. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's discipline, the master key, the hidden door, the silent force separating the watchers from the winners, the talkers from the builders, the dreamers from the doers. So decide now, who do you want to be? The person who waits, wonders, and hopes? Or the one who acts, adapts, and conquers? Because no one is writing your story for you. It's your hand, your pen, your page. The question is, are you ready to take control? Are you ready to unlock it all? Are you ready to master yourself so you can finally master your destiny? Then stop waiting, stop doubting, stop delaying, and begin. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Because the life you want is already waiting. It's just waiting for the version of you who's finally ready to answer the call.